Welcome back to Plan Voodoo. I'm your host, Derek, and today, I, alone, will be recapping Survivor 45, Episode 3. Wow. Sabaya just got sent home. I'm in shock. I know Alex and Martin are going to be in shock once they watch the episode. She was our frontrunner. I know, at least for myself and Alex, that was his first pick. I viewed her as well as as the favorite to win, and yeah, she's gone. What a blindside! What an episode 2. Every vote matters, as Jeff likes to say. So yeah, so I just want to start with saying I'm happy that Caleb listened to Emily and voted out Sabaya. Obviously, I drafted Caleb in in our Survivor 45 draft with my first pick of the second round, so my second overall pick. And yeah, we've now seen this red tribe go to tribal 3 times to start this season. That's we're inching towards a record at this point, but we know that won't continue as they teased a tribe swap, possibly down to 2 tribes in this next episode. I only saw 2 different colored tribes. I think I saw red and I saw yellow. We will see. We'll see on that. But I just want to give my thoughts on Sabaya and what went down. So obviously, the whole episode, we kind of see Sabaya and Sean. They start planting seeds here that, hey, Caleb's dangerous. He's obviously a social threat. We need to take him out sooner rather than later. And they even loop Emily on this, and Emily is all for it because she's been at the bottom this whole time and has evaded being voted out for 2 tribals now. And yeah, essentially Caleb was gone on the raid, which I'll get to later on in the episode. And so we see it planted there. And later on in the episode, Sabaya confirms now is the time to strike. Sean agrees. But Emily has a change of heart. Yes, she has a change of heart because Sabaya reveals to her that she has an idol, essentially, that's encased in the wax, which Sabaya goes on to melt at Tribal Council, and come to find out, it led to her downfall. Yeah. So I wasn't sure that Caleb would trust Emily. I really wasn't. But he's quite a savvy player, and what's the worst that happens? It's a split vote, and you have someone that you can trust entirely. In that case, being Emily, or you are sent home. So I think he made the right move. Now Sean's in a precarious position. I don't know how he's going to navigate, but we shall see. Yeah, wow. Sabaya sent home on the 3rd episode. This matches our draft from last season, I think. I think it matches last season, in which we saw Sarah Wade go home. That was Martin's first pick from the previous year. I think she went home 3rd, possibly 4th. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, I'm just in shock. Sabaya went home. Yeah, what an episode. This season's been great. It's been so good so far. I'll circle back to the Lulu tribe, Yellow tribe. I do want to touch base on the other tribes a bit and talk about them. So we see that the Blue tribe, that being Bello, Jake seems to be fitting in a little more with his constituents, yes, his fellow castaways. That being the women, like Kendrick per se, we saw them have a conversation. Seems like he might be easing his way into working with the rest of his tribe outside of Bruce. But we also see Jake, I don't know what happened. Maybe he was too close to the fire and, like he said, dehydrated, lack of food, and it looked like his body was convulsing. He fell pretty almost on his face, but he woke up within like 2 or 3 seconds. Scary. Unfortunate we didn't get to see Dr. Mike, but I'm glad that it seems like Jake is okay. So furthermore on the Blue tribe, we're starting to see the dynamics shift between the tribe. We saw this as of last episode. And so we have, I want to get this right. So we have Kelly and Brando kind of as a pair. We have Jake and Bruce as a pair, and then we have Kendra and Katura as a pair. Now, within these pairs, we also have the 3 women that seem to be working together, and the women are splitting off the 3 men as working together. I don't quite see Brando with the other 2. That's what they're saying. So, yeah. But it's still been a slow build-up for Bruce to get voted out. Katura obviously wants Bruce gone quite badly. And it seems like Kelly is reluctant. So long as they keep winning challenges, though, she is more willing to get rid of Bruce. I do think Kelly's going to be a big player in this game. I am still very upset I didn't draft her. Yeah, that one haunts me. But yeah, there's not much that happened with the Blue Tribe this episode. They did lose the reward challenge. There was a reward challenge, which I'll get to right now. I think their strategy to lose the reward challenge was probably wise, sitting out both Jake and Bruce, because it allowed both of them to compete for immunity when they needed it most, and they got it. And one thing we know about Blue, they're very good at puzzles. They're very, very good at puzzles, and they proved it yet again. Hey, we are the best at puzzles. Now, this puzzle involved physical strength, so they weren't as fast as Red. Red ended up catching up to them, but still very impressive. So now to the reward challenge, in which I just mentioned Jake and Bruce both sat out. We see Lulu, the Yellow Tribe, win their first challenge. Now, as I alluded to earlier in this episode, they went to tribal council again. Zabai went home. So it didn't last too long being on that high. But we see them win, and then Red subsequently follows. Both tribes get a fruit platter, but Yellow finishing first, they get to decide who from their tribe will go to one of the other tribes and raid their camp, steal an item. Caleb willingly volunteers. Seems like the good option. Everyone in the tribe agrees because he's very outspoken and sociable that he will be able to gain information and trust with the others. And I honestly think Sabaya agreed to it as a plan of action to take out Caleb, which we saw her try to enact while he was gone on this raid. So Caleb goes, and they choose the Red Tribe. Makes sense. They've been quite dominant, and they have more items. So he goes to the Red Tribe, and he tries to find information. What's happening at this Reba Tribe? So everyone kind of they see through him. You know, they know he's a salesman, and yeah, but he's a good talker. You know, he's a good talker, and he wants to chat with everyone one-on-one to gain a little insight of their position within the tribe. The reason being is because along with being able to steal one item during this raid, Caleb was given a goodwill advantage. Now, he had to give this to someone else. Essentially, this goodwill advantage would allow that person to restore a lost vote if they had one for that tribal council. Now, the way that I interpreted it as well, though, is something that I know Alex and Martin and I talked about on the last episode, is that it appears you can lose multiple votes at the same time. So say, I know we mentioned, like, say Drew, for example, or someone else lost a vote. Or we'll do Brandon from episode 2, because that makes more sense. But say he did he risked his vote in that one when they went off, and he lost it. But he also had the beware advantage and was able to open at the time. So he could have, at that time, had 2 lost votes, essentially. So that's good to note. I don't think it's going to come up this season, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. But this goodwill advantage, he was sussing out who he would give it to. And Drew essentially told Caleb about his safety with power and that he risked his vote at the time, and he still has his vote. And that shared trust and knowledge, Caleb felt comfortable with giving Drew the goodwill advantage. So now Drew and his alliance, that being Austin, Dee, and Julie, though the term alliance, I would say, is in quotes, maybe until the end of the episode, because obviously there's not much trust at the beginning of this episode between those 4. Yes, we have Austin and Drew. They've been scheming Austin obviously has been trying to search for this idol. Dee and Julie, they had no idea, but they're very wary of the Austin and Drew having these side conversations and whispering. And Drew gets caught. Yes, they're looking for an idol this episode. Drew and Austin, they're digging. And Drew gets caught red-handed by Austin. Austin was supposed to shout if he wanted tacos or something, but he was off collecting coconuts, so that didn't happen. Honestly, I'm quite surprised the damage control that Austin and Drew were able to pull off this episode. But we see essentially Dee and Julie, once they're led on about everything, they assist. So once Drew receives the goodwill advantage, he lets his alliance know, including Dee and Julie, hey, I have this. Caleb gave this to me. And then later on in the episode, we see Austin own up, and he doesn't say when he found the advantage. That story doesn't quite add up, why they were digging at that palm tree. They didn't mention that, Dee or Julie didn't mention that they saw right through it a bit. But Austin essentially tells them that he got to that point with the beware advantage. They assist. They make it seem easy. And now we see Drew has a hidden immunity idol. But this hidden immunity idol comes with stipulations. Yes, it is only good for one tribal council. And yeah, the only way to ensure, or a better way of putting it, the only way to activate the idol for further use is to risk your vote. You can risk your vote once, and once all the players are on the same beach at the same time, which I would call the merge. Survivor didn't use those words, but I would say once the merge happens with all players on the same beach, then that is the last time you can use the idol if you risk your vote once. If you risk your vote twice, you can use it up to the final 5, which is the standard for any normal hidden immunity idol. It's an interesting little twist. I do enjoy players having to risk their votes for idols and such. Because as we see, a vote matters, and it mattered this episode as Sabaya, who melted the candle and received it at Tribal Council, received the idol, did not read the note until she was in the voting booth and had a decision to make. And she chose to risk her vote. She thought both Emily and Sean were going to vote Caleb, and that Caleb would probably vote Emily. That did not happen, and it cost her. So we will see if Austin receives a similar fate. I don't think it will quite happen that way, but we shall see. That 4 seems pretty strong. 2 pairs each, Drew and Austin, and then we have Dee and Julie with J Maya and Sifu looking like they're on the outs a bit with that tribe. Though it might not matter because we're going to have a swap coming soon. Yes, we are going to have a swap next episode. I am so excited that is happening. And I just want to say, please, Survivor, let's make it 2 tribes. That will be so interesting. I could see Lulu playing a big part in swinging whoever might not have the power. Maybe we get an even split between the other 2 tribes and Reba and Bello, where it's like 3 apiece from each tribe, and then Lulu fills it out. That'd be very interesting. We do have an odd number though, so I am wondering someone's obviously not going to be on one of the tribes if it is down to 2 tribes, or it could just be 3 tribes of 5. We shall see. So yeah, now I want to get into the superlatives of the episode. Worst move, best move, next boot. Worst move of the episode, I don't think, even though Sabaya went home by not voting and to try to activate her idol for further along in the game, I don't think it was the worst move, because I think she read the room quite correctly for the most part, except it didn't work in her favor. So I'm not going to say that's the worst move of the episode. I will say, though, I do think the worst move of the episode is maybe the damage control that Drew and Austin had to do most of the episode with Julie and Dee. So we're already seeing some cracks forming a bit within that alliance. Although we did see the alliance solidify near the end of the episode, I'm still cautious about those four sticking together moving forward, because once that mistrust and distrust is already there, it's hard to build it back up. So I'll say worst move of the episode is Drew getting caught digging for the idol by Julian D. Best move of the episode. It's the best move of the episode. Honestly, has to be. Even though I know I just said Sabaya didn't have the worst move, the best move has to be Caleb voting out Sabaya for multiple reasons. So say Caleb had voted Emily at this tribal council, we would have had a three-way tie. Yes, a three-way tie between Sabaya, Emily, and Caleb, meaning none of them would be able to vote, and only one person would have been able to vote, and that would have been Sean. We already saw that Sean had voted for Caleb, so Caleb would have gone home if he did not trust Emily this episode. Actually, I'm giving Caleb too much credit for voting Sabaya. Scratch that. I'm giving best move to Emily. I think she advanced her position in the game. She lasted another vote, but not only that, she built trust with Caleb, and now she has, I would say, an alliance. She has someone that she's working with moving forward, and that's bigger than what anyone else did this episode. So yeah, I'm gonna give Emily credit where credit is due. She had the best move this episode, not wanting to align with Sabaya and Sean as being third wheel, but rather giving Caleb the keys and saying, hey, they're going for you. Let's flip it on them. And yeah, so I'm going to give Emily best move of the episode. And now let's get into next boot. So I think this one's going to be a little hard to say because we do see a swap coming. The only thing that's been iterated episode over episode has been Bruce is getting on people's nerves. So yeah, I'm just gonna, I think I've said it the last few episodes now, but Bruce, I think your days are numbered here as a returnee. People see you as a threat. So hopefully not though. I did draft you. Probably a little too high, but yeah, I'm gonna say Bruce goes home next episode. And my final thoughts of the episode, what a great episode. It's been quite the build up this season. Every episode's been great. Love the recaps. We had a reward challenge this episode. We're getting a swap, possibly 2 tribes. Hopefully we get an auction. That would be the icing on the cake to what's been a fantastic season of Survivor so far. And we got a blindside this episode. Wow, what a blindside. And stay tuned for next week's episode when we recap episode 4. Alex and Martin should be back here. And yeah, I'll have Alex hash out his thoughts on Sabaya and that vote out during that episode. So if you want to listen to that, be sure to follow us on YouTube or Spotify so you can stay tuned for whenever we publish our episodes. We typically publish same day. And this is Planet Voodoo, where your vote matters.